Hi all. Today I am going to teach you how to use some very good software to run a car rental business. It's about RentitAll 4. Without further ado, let's get to it. First part. Installation. After downloading RentitAll, look for the compressed file in the Downloads folder. There, double-click on the compressed file, and then double-click on the installer to begin the installation process. RentitAll is software that is not digitally signed. That is why Windows will probably show a warning message. If this happens, you can safely continue as I do. After installing, you will find a RentitAll shortcut on your Windows desktop. Double-click to start RentitAll for the first time. Select the language. Complete the fields with the business data. In the ID field, write your company's tax identification number. With the username and password, you can log into RentitAll later. The first time you start RentitAll, it will automatically download the latest updates available. Use the username and password you created earlier to log in. Second part. The configuration. If this is the first time you use RentitAll, my first recommendation is that you take a look at the settings. To open the settings panel, click this button. Using this button, you will be able to change your business information and add a logo. Use this other button to modify, add or delete branches. Here, you can set tax parameters and units of measure, for example, taxes, currency options, distance unit and more. You can add rates using this button. Use these rates later when adding vehicles, rentals, and reservations. From here you can add, modify or remove additional equipment to the rental. For example, snow chains, roof box and others. Activate and deactivate the guarantees by clicking here. This button will allow you to modify the security and control options. You can modify the document templates here. For example, the contract template. To prepare RentitAll to send mail, click here. Create and restore backups by clicking this other button. This option will allow you to archive the current database, thus saving disk space. If you click here, you will be able to maintain the database. This button will allow you to erase everything and start from scratch. To configure groupware settings on a local area network, click here. Here you can change the language. And here, you can get a user license and also activate this copy of RentitAll. Let's delve into the options that in my opinion are most important. Let's study the fiscal parameters. This is the fiscal parameters window. Here, you can change the acronym of the tax identification number, which by default is ID. Some examples for this acronym are NIF, QIT, and RUT. Write the corresponding one in your country. In these three fields, you can change the name of the currency, the number of decimal places it uses, and the currency symbol. On the other hand, here you can change the acronym of the tax, and also its rate. Use these fields to rename the sales documents. There are two, because in some countries precisely two types of document are used, depending on who the recipient is. In most countries only the invoice is used. If you are going to use both, check this box. These fields correspond to the counters of the document's folio number. Write here the next number to be issued. From this, RentitAll will increase the counter one by one sequentially. If you want to add a legend or any text to the sales documents, you can write it here. These other fields are the counters of contracts and movements. These numbers will also increase sequentially from this number one by one. Finally, to select the distance measurement unit used in your country, use these radio buttons. Another extremely important configuration option is editing the printable document templates. But, what is a RentitAll template? A RentitAll template is a type of model document used for printing. For printing, RentitAll relies on these templates. All the modifications you make here will be reflected in the printed documents. Let's see how it works. It is important to clarify that from this window, you can also configure the integration with electronic invoice applications. This time, we are going to focus on editing templates, leaving the rest for another video. By checking this option, you will be able to edit the template of non-electronic sales document supported by RentitAll. Here you can modify a letter size template or a thermal roll ticket, as well as choosing which of the two sizes to use. I'll close the window. Here, you can also modify the contract, reservation order or rental templates. In this example, I am going to modify the contract template. First, I click on the contract that I want to modify. The template will open in the default text editor installed on your computer. In my case, in Microsoft Word. This is the template. In this example, the template is written in Spanish. But you can change the language and write your own contract template. Here, you can modify almost everything. Modify the text, add a logo, change the font, its size and also its color. But you should never modify the name of the variables. Variables are easily distinguished because they are words enclosed in two brackets. You can change the letter, color and size of a variable, you can even move or delete them. But if you are going to use it, you should not modify the name. When you're done editing the template, save your changes. Remember, all the modifications you make to a template will be reflected in the print. On the other hand, by clicking here you will be able to access the entire list of variables and their meaning. You can add or remove these variables to templates. Next, let's take a look at the fees and fines settings. In this window, you can create or modify rate groups by clicking here. RentitAll allows you to define the rental price of a vehicle in real time. This means that any user could charge whatever price he wants when handing over a rental vehicle. But if you create a rate group and then assign it to a vehicle, RentitAll will automatically calculate the amount of a rental based on the days, the kilometers traveled, the delay, and so on. And in addition, no user may charge a different rate than the established one. Next, I will create several groups that we will use later. On the other hand, in this same window, you can select the maximum number of hours of delay allowed. If a vehicle is returned with a delay greater than the maximum, RentitAll will automatically calculate the value of the fine. In order for RentitAll to be able to calculate a fine automatically, it is necessary to establish the value of said fine in the table of tariff groups studied above. If you want RentitAll to calculate the fine from 1 minute late, select the value 0. Third part. Employees and owners. To add employees, click the menu button and then select People. Now, click on the Employees button. This is the Employees table. Here all the employees added to the database will be displayed. To add a new one, click the View Edit button and then select New. On the other hand, if you want to modify the record of an existing employee, first select the employee in the table, then click the View or Edit button, and then select the Edit or Delete option. By last, if you want to delete an existing employee's record, click this button. Regarding the owners, if more people own the rental vehicles, register them this way. Click on the menu button, then select People. Click on the Owners button here. As with employees, to add, modify or delete owners, use the View Edit button. Fourth part. Rental vehicles. RentitAll allows you to add a wide variety of rental vehicles. Bicycles, scooters and motorcycles, boats, snowmobiles, cars, trucks, heavy machinery, motorhomes, tow trucks and basically any vehicle that is rented for days. To add vehicles to the database, first click on the main menu and there select Vehicles. Vehicles added to the database will appear in this table. To add one, click the View Edit button and then select New. Vehicle information is displayed in this window. The ID corresponds to the license plate. You can select the vehicle type from this list. If it doesn't exist, you can add it now. In the same way, you can select the brand, body, transmission, traction, and fuel, in addition to entering other data. In this other list box, select the location of the vehicle. The location refers to the branch where this vehicle is managed. I am going to register some vehicles before continuing. You can also add the equipment included with this vehicle. Before doing this, you must save your changes. Regarding the rates, do you remember that we had previously added some rate groups? Here they will be useful. In these fields, you can write the different rates associated with the rental of this vehicle. However, you can also select one of the existing rate groups. Also, it is possible to define a maintenance plan for registered vehicles. To do this, in this same window, click on this button. Complete the maintenance detail and add it to the list below. For example, I'll add a drive belt change. Select the repeat cycle. For example, every certain number of days or miles. In this example, I have selected miles. Write here the mileage of the last service carried out. And here, after how many miles should it be repeated. Finally, click on this button to save the changes. It is important to note that the unit of measurement for distance traveled can be set in miles or kilometers. In this example, we are using miles. To add other maintenance plans, click the More button. Use this button to quickly add more vehicles without having to close the window. With this button, you can delete the registration of this vehicle. And with this other, you can print this information. To edit vehicle types, makes or bodies, click this button. For example, if I wanted to modify a vehicle type, I select the option Modify Types. Then in this list, I select the type that I want to modify, I right-click the mouse, and finally, I choose Modify. Fifth part. The maintenance. RentitAll includes a simple way to keep track of scheduled maintenance for each vehicle. In the fourth part of this tutorial, we had already learned how to schedule vehicle maintenance. To access maintenance, click on the main menu and then select Maintenance. All scheduled maintenance will appear in this table. To see the detail of any of them, first select one from the table, and then click here. In this window you will see the detail of the selected maintenance. Check this box to indicate to RentitAll that the vehicle will not be available because it is undergoing maintenance. When a vehicle is ready again and maintenance has been completed, check this other box. And then select the date the maintenance was completed. Finally, to save any changes made, click on this button. Part 6. Reservations. If a customer wants to reserve a vehicle, do the following. First, click on the main menu. Then, select the option Rent or Reserve. In the Rentals and Reservations menu, click this button. RentitAll will open the rental or reservation window. In this window, look for the box type of movement and select the option Reserve. The employee who is registering this movement must identify himself. To do this, select your name in this list box. Then, as a security measure, enter your password. After identifying the employee, you must identify the customer. Here, you select an existing customer. If the customer does not exist, you can register him by clicking this button. I will select this one. Next, look for one of the available vehicles. To do this, click here. This will open the vehicle search window. When you select a vehicle in the table, detailed information will appear here on the right. To confirm, click this button. Once you have selected a vehicle, choose the departure date here, then choose the time here. In this example, the vehicle will be reserved from 9 o'clock hours. Now select or type the place of departure. Then click on this box to set the return date. Select one of the available options. In this example, I will select the option by days, and then I will type 2 days. The return date will automatically appear here. Then, in this box, select the return time. By default it will be the same as the departure time. You must also select or write the place of return. Finally, click on this button to add the reservation to the database. As of now, the vehicle is reserved between the scheduled dates and times. 7th. The rents. A customer comes to pick up a vehicle that he previously reserved for us. In the Rentals and Reservations table, find a reservation made by the customer. After selecting it, click the View or Edit button. The window with the reservation information will open. In it, change the type of movement by selecting the Rent option. You can change some information before continuing. For example, change the date and time of return, or hire additional services. Write the vehicle's odometer counter here. This information can be expressed in kilometers or miles. Remember that in this tutorial, we have configured RentitAll to work with miles. Keeping the mileage up to date will help RentitAll calculate and announce the scheduled maintenance for each vehicle. Select one of the options to indicate the current level of the vehicle's fuel tank. Also, you can write annotations and additional specifications in this box. Don't forget to assign a contract by clicking this button. Here you select one of the two available contract models. Remember that we had already seen how to modify the contract template before. Using this button, you can print a contract. By clicking on this button, you will confirm the contract, and it will be associated with the rental with a number. Remember also, we had already seen how to modify the page counter. If you want to see more details about the amounts related to the rent, click here. To close the detail, click this button. Finally, to confirm the rental, click here. It is not necessary to reserve a vehicle in advance to rent it. You can rent a vehicle directly, in the same way that a reservation is made. Next, I will rent a vehicle. Pay attention. Eighth part. Finalize a rental. To end a rental, in the Rentals and Reservations table, find and select the rental you want to finalize. Then, click on the View or Edit button to see the rental details. Check the Receive Vehicle box. Check the date and time are correct. Write the vehicle's odometer counter here. Then select the fuel tank level here. Confirm the return by clicking this button. Finally, save the changes by clicking this other button. Ninth part. The billing. RentitAll can issue invoices for those rentals completed and grouped by customer. For example, you can issue an invoice for one or more rentals. To bill, click on the main menu and then select Invoicing. Then click on the New Invoice button. Select the customer by clicking on this box. In this example, I will select Wolfgang Amadeus. To confirm, click this button. Then click Next. The employee must identify himself. Look for your name on this list. Then enter your personal password. In the expanded window, click the Add Item button. Select the Movements option. In this window, all finished rentals without invoicing will appear, associated with the customer. Select one and click the More button. Then close the table. The item will have been added to the invoice. It should be noted that this legend can be modified in the configuration. In this example, the legend refers to the Annex MADR2, which is the code of an additional document, which will be printed next to the invoice, and in which the rental details are described. Besides, you can also add custom items to the invoice. To do this, click on the More button, and there select the Custom option. Write the detail, and then, write the net total. Click this button to add to invoice. To collect the invoice immediately, check the Collected box. Choose a payment method, and then click this button to confirm the payment method. Finally, to save, click here. And with this, we have reached the end of this video tutorial. With this information, you should already be able to use RentitAll without major problems. Remember, you can download RentitAll from www.microtexan.com.